Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Cap Crew Wednesday. This is Tom, and I hope everybody's doing well. And just want to say hello to everybody in the chat so far. We got a new one in here, Frog and Flange Video. That's James. Welcome, James. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. John Nippenberg's here. Hey, John. Welcome. How you doing? Glad to see you in here. PKW Model Works. Bob's here. Hey, Bob, welcome. How you doing? Mike Pedham's here. Junction. Hey, Mike, welcome. How's things over across the pond? It's early morning there, right? Hope you're still awake. We got Russ rocking and trains and stuff. Hey, Russ, welcome. Thanks for stopping in. We got Chuck Schreiber here. Hey, Chuck, how you doing? Welcome. And then we got Trackside Mike, keeping on the tracks. Hey, Mike, welcome. Two mics here tonight. And then we got Stormy Sky Rail Productions. Dave's here. Welcome, Dave. How you doing? Good to see you in here tonight. Everybody saying hello to everybody. Glad to see everybody in here tonight. I'm going to make myself big. I want to show you something. Okay. Last week I was talking about my Stream Deck, and it's in the train room here with my laptop here that I'm streaming with right now. And I got all the StreamYard stuff on it, which I can push buttons and it does things for me. And then one day last week, I don't know what it was, I think it was Saturday. No, it was on Friday. I came in the train room and I had to walk by this station I have here where I'm sitting to get into my office. And I came back out and I looked, and the screen was blank on the Stream Deck. And I go, what's going on? Now, when I was setting it up originally to work with StreamYard, I was playing around with some of the settings and stuff like that, and the screen went blank then, but I got it to come back on. But I couldn't get it to come back on. The screen was blank. This is the Stream Deck, okay? And it has 15 buttons on it. You can set up buttons, and you can go to the next screen, and then you have 15 more buttons, and up to 5 screens. You can have 15 buttons on each 5 screens to do different things. So I said, what's going on? I can't get it to work. I couldn't get it to light up. On your computer, you have an app called Stream Deck, and it brings up, and that's how you configure the Stream Deck to for the buttons and everything. You do that on the computer. And I said, okay, let me push one of the buttons. The buttons work, but they don't show up. You can't see them. So I said, what the heck's going on? So I said, okay, what I'm going to do is I'll order another one from Amazon. That's where I got this one from. And then I'll just throw this one in and say the one I got didn't work and exchange it for nothing, right? Well, I ordered it. It came in, but it's a different style now. They came up with a new style. And this is the new one. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see the buttons on there, but they're StreamYard buttons. And this one here goes to the next screen. If I do that, then there's the next screen. I only have 2 screens set up for it. And so I started setting up some of the buttons. And last week, I was telling you that I couldn't get the go live button work from the Stream Deck. I kept on pushing the button and it wouldn't work. So brought up the Stream Deck and looked and see how it was configured. And it was configured with a shift and a command. I forget which one it was. And so then I said, wait a minute. And then I went into the StreamYard settings, and then they have a section on a menu items is hotkeys. And I went into the hotkeys, and it says start stream. Hey, Dwight, welcome. Went into the hotkeys, and I said, here's one that says start stream and recording, and it was not configured. So I set it up to match the same key, shift, let's just say S for start, and shift S, and boom, as soon as I hit the button, it started the stream for me. So on the Stream Deck, this key here, I don't know if you can, that key there says go live. So I hit that and it goes live. And then I set up another key on this screen, and that one there is to end the stream. So when you're on your in StreamYard, you have a button up there, and you have to hit end stream, and then blah blah blah. So, hey John, welcome. And it will end the stream for me by just putting the button, and then I can just click out of get back to the dashboard. And Will Creek Brad is here. Welcome, Brad. How you doing? So that was going on with the Stream Deck, and it was just weird how that one the LEDs just stopped working. Now maybe I'll contact Stream Deck support and see if they can do something for it. Then I can leave that on my computer in the office in case I have to stream out of there sometime. Then I don't have to unplug and plug this in. What's nice about the new version of the Stream Deck is it has a USB-C connector. The old one has the old USB style on it. And I only have one of these ports on this laptop. So what's in that port is a powered USB hub. And okay, Mike, no worries. And so I had this Stream Deck plugged into that hub. And on the Stream Deck support site, they said they don't work well with USB hubs. They need to be plugged in directly to the computer. So with this new version of the Stream Deck, no worries, Russ. Take your time. We'll be here. With this new version, it has the USB-C cable, and I have a USB-C cable on the laptop, and I plugged it directly in there, so it'll work real nice, connected directly instead of going through a hub. Because devices on a hub can get bottlenecked, and traffic that goes over the cable for that USB hub has to be able to determine what device it's coming from and all that. And it could get confusing sometimes. I've seen that happen in all my years of working with computers. So hubs are nice, but they have their issues. So that's what was going on with the Stream Deck. Now I have it set up. I hit a button, it brings up StreamYard. I sign in, I create my video, blah, 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 blah. I hit another button, to show the videos that I have on my computer, which allows me to um, play that introductory videos or the countdown and stuff like that, instead of clicking on all the buttons on StreamYard. So it works pretty good now. So I'm happy with that. So let me bring back up the cameras. Okay. Also, this past week after the show, this camera here, subway number 2. I don't know if you can read that, but that's what it says there. Subway number 2. This camera here was offline. Over here on this here, it says, let me get it up there on the screen. Right there, it says online. Well, that was showing as offline. So I had to troubleshoot that this past week. And first I got the wrong camera. I didn't realize that this was the camera. I don't have the cameras labeled out here. So just by looking at the picture, I should know where it is. But I picked the wrong camera and I was unplugging it and plugging it in, and it was coming on. I said, why isn't that coming on here? I had the wrong camera. I pulled the wires out of that camera, and then I had to re-hide them wires and everything. Then I found this camera, and this camera is an Ethernet camera, and it plugs into my office. So I traced that cable, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with the cable. So I took the camera off of its mount inside the subway system, brought it down into my office, and I plugged it right into my switch that I have in a cabinet in my office, and it came right up. So I said, okay, I got a bad cable. And that's a long cable. That's about maybe 35 feet Ethernet cable. Not real long, but it's long. And so I said, yeah, I have a small switch in the train room that I put in there when I put that new laptop in the computer room. So that mini. And I said, okay, let me get the longest cable I had. I have a big bag of cables down in my utility shed out in the backyard. I went down there, pulled out the longest one, but it wasn't long enough to fulfill the need of where I wanted to install it and everything. But I plugged it in and it worked. So I said, okay. So I ordered a 20-foot cable from Amazon. It came the next day, and then I hooked it back up and I got it up and running again. So it was just a bad cable. It's probably maybe some dirty contacts on the connectors or something. I don't know. I wasn't going to mess with it. I got to pull that cable all the way back through and disconnect it. But I hadn't had time to mess with that because I've been busy working on my the roundhouse and some other things. So at least I got the camera working. And as you can see, hey Jim, welcome. As you can see on the screen here, you see this light that lights up this area here is laying on the platform up there. And yeah, that's right. I'm going to go over what that is about in a few minutes. But that's the what's going on with that camera, and it was a flaky thing. So because I have this set up. Hey JD, welcome. How you doing? Glad to see you in here. So I have this set up in my train room. It's a laptop, and then I have a second monitor mounted on the wall, which shows the 8 cameras that I have for in the train room here. So, oh yeah, I saw that, John. I didn't get a chance to comment because I was getting ready for my show, but I'll reply to your comment. So I finished up my roundhouse. I did a video of it, which John just said he watched, and it's all completed. Did some landscaping and stuff like that, and it's all there. I just have one more thing to put up there, which I haven't showed yet, but I'll talk about that in a few minutes too. So that's what's going on with the roundhouse, and it's operational. And I put a few engines in the stalls and everything went smooth and stuff like that. So I reached 600 subscribers the other day, and I'm now over 2,100 watch hours. I'm getting close. So this takes time, but just wanted to give you all a heads up about that. And watch hours are the hardest things to get, but that's how it works. So I did a video showing. Thanks, JD. Yep, 400 more to go. So I just printed. Thanks, Bob. I just printed 2 more of those yard towers that I showed in the video. I'm going to make myself bigger again. Oh, why won't it let me? There we go. This learned something new about the StreamYard. Since I have 2 monitors, the mouse was up on the second monitor for the cameras to move it around up there so you guys can see where I'm pointing to. The Stream Deck will not respond unless the mouse is on the screen that the Screen Deck is on. Thanks, Mike. So here's another one of those towers. And if I turn it around there, you can see the front door. I printed them in different colors this time. Hey, Dwight. And I have to print some, I printed some workers, and I got to put them in here and stuff like that. And then the other one is the same, but it's not finished because I ran out of super glue. So that's that there. It's like these things aren't glued on or anything yet and stuff like that. So, well, this one here, I don't glue this on because there's the furniture inside. You can see in the stairwell. And then I have chairs to put down in there. And thanks, John. The chairs in there with the seated workers and stuff like that. So then that just slides on like so. And you go. And the antenna will stay up. I just sat it in there just to put it in there. Yeah, exactly, Bob. Yeah, I run out. I only buy the small bottles because what happens is the tube that it comes out of always gets clogged and stuff like that. Hey, James, welcome. How you doing? Thanks for stopping in. We got two Jameses in here tonight. And then I have to take a foam pin and start poking it in to loosen it up to make the hole open again. It's a pain in the neck. So I only buy the small. I don't know how many, what number of ounce it is, and so I don't waste it all. So I buy two of them at a time. I keep one in the closet, and then I start using one when I run out. I get that one, and then when that's out, I have to go buy some more. Oh, very nice, James. Very nice. So, so, so when I was printing the towers, I printed everything in silver. I said I'm going to get I had silver filament left over, and I said I'm going to print it in silver. That way I don't have to paint it. So, what I did was, as I was printing them, I ran out of silver filament. So I went on Amazon and ordered a spool of silver filament. So I went to check my order, and here I ordered a spool of PTEG silver filament. And I said, oh, crap, I got the wrong stuff. Because in the past, the Bamboo Labs AMS unit would only print PLA, and it would print PETG and TPU and ABS if you bought Bamboo Labs filament. But their filament is more expensive than some of the brands that I use. Like I use Polymaker, I use eSun, I use Sunlu. Those brands I use. So I got a spool of PETG, which is more flexible filament. When it hardens, it's flexible. So I thought. So I printed the parts that I needed for the towers, and then I said, I need to print a holder for what's the best affordable 3D printer. Well, it depends on what you want to print, Bob. I mean, John. If you want to print and what scale you are, you're Lionel, so you can get if you want to print cars for your train, you're going to need a bigger printer. But if you're going to print people or buildings and stuff like that, in O scale, you're going to need a bigger printer. And the bigger the build plate you get, the more expensive they are. Todd Armstrong's here. Welcome, Todd. Welcome. Thanks for stopping in. So I'm trying to print a holder for this kind of connector. And I said, oh, let me print it in PETG. So I printed them in PETG, and it Bamboo Labs has the best filament printers out there. Nobody makes anything better. Anycubic, in my opinion, makes the best resin printers. There's cheaper printers than the Anycubics, and they work well too. A lot of guys have tried different brands and everything, and they work. Whatever works for you, dollar wise or money wise. that's up to you. But I have four. I have four resin printers. I have four printers, John. I have two resin printers. Both of them are Anycubics. One's a Photon 4 and one's a Photon 6. The 6 has a bigger build plate than the 4. Okay. And then I got two filament printers. Both are Bamboo Labs. One's an A1 and one's a Mini. And that's what I do all my filament stuff on. So keeps me busy. So I printed these connectors in on the PTEG. Well, I printed it out. I printed one, and it came out great. I put this in, and it slipped right in, and it didn't. What was happening on the PLA ones? It would crack. This stem here would crack, and then, hey, Steve 87, welcome. How you doing? Thanks for stopping in. So it would crack. That's the PLA. So I started printing a bunch of these. Well, as these get harder or they sit longer, they crack also. So I'm going to have to try and find another filament that's flexible. And I don't know if it's ABS or I have a roll of TPU, but that won't work in my A1. So I can probably put the TPU on the Mini and see if it prints there and then see if that stuff works. But maybe I'll get a spool of ABS and see how that works. But I need a flexible filament because these things here have to be springy, like, because it goes in and then that springs down and then that little clip there clips onto the back of this connector. And then this will screw on there and then you can mount this underneath the layout and it'll hold it there. I was at a bridge near my house. Oh, very nice. Yeah, I have a train that runs about a mile, maybe a mile and a half from my house. But I don't hear it. ABS is pretty hard. Okay, Steve. Yeah, I need something that's flexible. So maybe I'll try TPU since I have that spool. I had to do something special with the TPU. But it was funny. With the PETG, I made springs. And they're flexible. I don't know what it's up with this with this PETG. This is really hard. TPU is flexible. Okay, I'll try that next. Thanks, JD. I thought it was, but I wasn't sure because I printed a whole bunch of these in PETG, and the supports on them. JK, Bamboo is like buying an Apple device. Good design, but you are committed to and paying for the entire ecosystem. So not always the most cost-effective solution for filament printing, I imagine. Well, POT is the best. What are you talking about, Dwight? POT. So anyway, so that's what I was trying to print because these connectors, I have a better Dwight, are you rolling big fatties? These connectors, I have a different type of connector and they work. They slide in. Thanks a lot, James. So that's what was going on with that. So I'll play around with that TPU in my Mini and see how that works. Um, so that's what that was about. So I mean, it was disappointing because I said, while I'm waiting for the show to start, I'll start cleaning off the supports. And I took my little cutter and I cut. I, as I was breaking these out, they were breaking off. They just got too. I don't know if I had to take these off when they're still warm. Like if I take this off and then I take this off. Now remember, this is PETG. Okay. So now I took the supports off. And then when you go like this with the connector, you push it in there and then you try to push it on to that and see what happens. It broke off. It just broke right off. It just snapped. It's trying to bend that out just a little bit and it snaps. So very, very weird. Oh, it's a joke. Okay. So anyway, um, that's what's going on with the 3D printing stuff. So I guess I can just toss them because then they're not worth the effort. So well, if it went up in smoke, you're out of luck, Alfonso. If it burned up, it's nothing you can do about it. You have to get a new decoder. You need to have uh, circuit breaker protection on your layout. So that way, if it causes a short, you won't have a problem. So also what I've been working on this week started. Well, yeah, that's not good, Alfonso. That's why you got to keep your tracks clean. So I've been working on my signal project. These guys, and I did two on a Helix the other day, and they went pretty smooth. Yeah, Bob, but that was a sale, wasn't it? I don't think. Hey, Mike, welcome. That ain't a current deal, is it? I think that was probably just a deal for the day or something. Printers that come in enclosures are usually a deal by the company that's selling them. Yeah, the Bamboo A1 is $299. Yeah, that's um, and there's enclosures relatively cheap. I put an enclosure on my A1 and I took it off. I says I didn't like the idea of it being in an enclosure because on my environment is different. You're in a place like where Bob is. You might have more dust and dirt from stuff like that. So you want to protect your equipment. I don't have that problem here. This is a house, and it there's no traffic walking through my office except for me. My dog goes in there once in a while and sees what I'm doing and stuff. So, and we have two mics. So we got two Jameses, two mics, and two. There was another two in here. There's two. There's three twos in here tonight. Let me see who the other one was. Two Jameses. I can't remember. But anyway, there's a bunch of twos in here tonight. With four spools. I don't know what they sell in Canada, James. You're going to need to research up there and see, because we can get anything we want here in the United States, no matter where it's sold. So, yeah, well, my Bamboo Labs has a camera and lights and everything too, Bob. I think all of them are doing that now with the cameras. There's a lot of files that you used to see for printers. There's a section for printers and you can get files. A lot of them had camera mounts. So a lot of guys were putting cameras on their printers so they can keep an eye on it and stuff. I have a Wi-Fi camera in my office that I can move around to watch the printers if I was away from it. But I can go on my phone and watch my printer with the app for Bamboo Labs. I can watch the printer status, and then I can also open up the camera from my phone and watch the printer off of my phone if I was out and I was printing a long job or something like that. So, but anyway, back to the well, see, Bob, I 3D print my parts in the colors that I want them. That way, I don't have to paint. And that's why I got the Bamboo Labs AMS unit, because it thanks, Jim. It does a great job of printing the parts out in the colors. That's like on this tower. I use black filament for the roof. I use red for the building, and I use silver for the other parts. And no painting required. So less painting, the better. If I can print it in that color, and if I don't have that color, I'll go out and buy it. Now, the resin, I use water-based resin now, and I just get white, and white's easy to paint over. So that's where I print all the people I make, is on the resin printers. And I had to print some workers for these two towers. They're in the water now. They'll be painted over the weekend sometime. So, but anyway, back to the signal. I purchased multicolor print vehicles for my layout. They needed highlighting and weathering at a minimum, I imagine. Well, No, Alfonso, you can print in many colors. In your slicer program, you bring the model into your slicer program, and then you have the model there, and one of the buttons on there is called paint. And then you can select the areas of the model that you want to print in different colors. So, like, for example, I print signs to mark um, the lights for the signals, and I have a gray background and a black letters. So when I design the block and the letters, then I bring that onto my slicer, and then I paint the letters black and leave the base gray. And then it prints gray, each layer of gray. And then when it gets to the letters, then it starts to automatically print in black. Now that's on an A1. Now I did multicolors on a Anycubic Viper, but that required programming on the Viper. And you have to send codes from a program on your computer to the Viper. And the Viper needs to be connected to your computer in order to do that. Now, a lot of printers can it's not the printer that determines the colors. It's the code that comes down to the printer. Once the code is in there, what it does is it puts a code in there to pause the printer. Then it changes the color from gray to black, as in my example. It switches the color, it purges out the gray filament, puts in the black, and then it says go, and it prints the black for the next layers that you want to do. If you like painting, yeah, I like to paint too, but not as much as I'd rather print it in the color that I don't have to paint it. Because I would rather spend time putting it together than painting it, and then it doesn't go together, it doesn't look right. I just use the colors because the detail is phenomenal on the Bamboo Labs filament printers. The detail is just so great. It's unbelievable. So, like this building here, all that brickwork on it, you can't see it on the camera, but I can see it up close. It looks great. And that's just why paint that? It looks perfect the way it is. No. Only time it takes longer, Bob, if you don't paint your model correctly. Like I have mine set up to make only. Say I want to. When I printed my clearance markers, that was 4 different colors. Thanks, John. 4 different colors: red, white, yellow, and orange. Okay. And I only had 4 changes. If you don't do it correctly, you could have 100 changes, and that's what slows down the print. So when you design your model and you paint, then you paint your model in a slicer, it will come out better. Like when I do multi-printing, I get my print changes down to 1 to 2 or less. Like if I have 3 colors, I would make sure I only had 3 changes, not print a little bit, then come back and print a little bit. No. may have to move the model and place it the right way and stuff like that. So it's uh, it's very easy if you set your model up properly and get the colors in the way you want it. So, but anyway, um, I wasn't going to talk too much about 3D printing tonight, but you guys asked the question, so I'm going to answer. Yeah, there is, Bob. There's a lot of challenges because when I did my first color uh, printer change, because I had gotten the Bamboo Labs A1 with the AMS unit. It was a deal. I got both the units at the same time, and it was cheaper that way. And I said, I want to print something in multicolor. And then I look, when you slice it, it tells you how many print changes you're going to make. And it was going to do 150 print changes. And it was going to take, a couple hours to print a small little thing. I says, no. Got to be a better way to do this. So then I did some research on it and found out you have to, um, may have to realign your. Hey, Gerald, welcome. How you doing? You might have to realign your model on the build plate and paint it differently on the build plate and stuff like that. So there's a lot involved. I got mine down to where I know how I want to do them. And when I design the signs, they're pretty easy. It's just two colors and whatever color I make them. Like I made all those siding signs, white sign with red letters. They're easier for me to read. And they printed, um, you know, all the white, and then it got to and that's an odd size part. It printed all the white, and then it came up to the level where the letters were, and then changed to red, and then it printed red for the rest of the way. Now you could have, and there's different ways to paint the model too when in your slicing program, different ways, and that will determine how many changes you have. I always do fill because when I click on the letter or the number and I have the color selected that I want it to be, I click on the number and then it paints the whole thing for me. And I didn't realize that in the beginning. And what it was doing was I click on the number, but then it wasn't doing the sides of the number. And that's why I was getting high numbers of printer changes because it was changing colors as it was doing each level. And that'll take forever. So, okay, James, we'll be here. So anyway, I wanted to get back to my signal project. Like I said, I did some on the Helix. They were the three aspect signals. And then I had these dwarf signals with this two LEDs in it. That's right, Chuck. And I got a lot of experience in that. And I got a lot of help from Jim Tedesco when I first started out. And then every once in a while, we work on a project on Tinkercad together, trying to get my problem solved. Sometimes I don't have something right. I still haven't figured out Tinkercad to my liking yet, but I always can rely on Jim to move around some information for me. I forgot to comment, but the signs for Mike Electronics looks great. I like the high mount. Yeah, that's right. He made a good one there. You see, he printed that, and then I think he painted it. But see, if he had a printer that had multicolors, he could have printed the sign and then printed the letters in the color that he wanted, and he wouldn't have had to paint it. So, but he likes to paint, so he can paint. Oh, that's thanks, Bob. Always here to help anybody with that kind of stuff. So I started to go. So then I said, okay, I'm going to start working on some of these dwarf signals with just the two aspects. And I said, let me start at the top level, then I'll work my way down. Sometimes I work my way up, I work my way down. But because I figure if I do the top level first, any dirt or debris that'll fall off will fall down, and then I'll get it as I come down. You're welcome, John. So but getting the old signals out on the top level is a challenge. Okay. I had 13 of these up there that I had to replace. And I I put them, what I have to do is I have to disconnect them from the terminal block, pull them out of the hole, and then change it, and then put this back in and connect it to the terminal block, right? Well, the terminal blocks, some of them are above the subway system tunnel pieces, the pieces that go this way, the tunnel pieces. And okay, Steve, thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you being here. We'll catch you next time. Gee, maybe I should get you and Jim to print some containers for me. I really didn't want kit bash them. They are 40-foot trash containers. Steve, just email me and we can see what we can do for you. No, there's no helix on the real railroads. I've seen no, never seen one. There you go, Bob. You gonna get them all at once? What do you need, like 15 more or 16 more or something like that? I think I remember you saying. But so I had to remove some of the panels on the subway system and some of the side pieces, the tunnel pieces, to get to the terminal block. And of course, railroads use loops. Right. That's right, JD. They use loops. They don't use helixes. So, or roundhouses. They have turntables and they turn the trains. They used to turn the trains around in on the turntable and stuff. They don't do that much anymore, but I don't know how they do it in the subway, what they do in the subway systems. I don't know how they, but I think those cars go forward and backwards. So, but they got loops that go all the way around. Good memory, Tom. 16 more, but I can only get 4 or so into the bed of my little. Oh, why can't you have them just deliver them to you, Bob? Won't they deliver to you, or that costs a lot to have them delivered? Well, that's 4 trips. 16, 4 times 4 is 16. That's still my math. So that's just 4 trips for you. Even if you had a full size pickup truck, you still would probably only be able to get. Well, you might be able to get 6 in a full pickup truck. I don't know. Is that a 6-foot bed you have there with that Tacoma? Is that a 6-foot bed? I had a Chevy S10 that had a full bed. At $10 each, I think I can only demand so much. 5-foot bed and 5-foot bed. Yeah, that's why you only can get 4 in there. Yeah. Okay. That's all right. So anyway, I to get the signals out, and then the other problem is I put straws in the holes. When I drilled the holes for the signals, I put a straw in the signal. That way, when the wires go through, it's easier for them to slip through the inch foam and the piece of plywood. They would always get tied up in something. So I put a straw in there. But when I put the signals in originally, I put a little glue on there, and the glue fell down into the hole, and that glued the wires to the straw and everything. Had to break them loose and all that. So it's a couch. That's right, Mike. Yeah, that's a small bed, 5 foot. But that's how they make them now. 8 foot beds are a luxury, I guess. Yeah, I used to be able to put a 4x8 in the back of my pickup truck. So, but the wheel wells, but the 4x8 fit inside. It didn't have to lean and go over the edge or on the out of it. So, um, but I could put a couple sheets of 4x8s on top of the wheel wells and inside there. So that was nice about having an 8 foot bed. Yeah, that's a truck I got, um, and I stripped it all down. It had a little rust on it, and I stripped it all down, repainted it, and everything. And that was a nice thing about having a garage, do all that stuff, and it worked out pretty well. Yeah, that's right. Oh, it's 17, 15. Two people aren't hitting the like button. So, yeah, so it's been a long, drawn out process, and I have 6 more signals to put up there on the upper level. This is what one looks like completed. Um, you can see the red and the green LED in there, and then there's the wires and the resistors, and I painted them all so you wouldn't hit the connections and everything. Yeah, there you go, on a diagonal, right. Well, I wouldn't be able, well, on a diagonal I could too, but that's only one person then. We had a camper we had a camper for the truck, and used to go and sleep in that, and that was plenty of room. That was 18. Now we're at 17, 17. Excellent. What's those look great? Oh, the signal. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, it came out good. And um the the other ones were real small, like I said, and the LEDs were hardly visible. So these will be a lot bit more visible, and you'll be able to see them and everything. So it's a long process, and like each level, I had some on, and the most is on the helix. So yeah, nice hotels. Yeah, that's right. Well, what can you do? You can't be compatible in everything you do. It's not possible. So, so as I'm working on the signals, I've been sliding under the layout to get back behind, to get up top, to get to the ones in the back of the layout up there. I can get to the back of my layout in 2 spots. So I army crawl on the floor underneath my first level layout, and then I come up in the back, and I can get up there, and I have a 2-step stool on each side. I can get up there and get up and above on the fifth level. Well, I turned the system on the other day. Today's Wednesday. On Monday, and two of my bus lines, they're all called BD, Bus District 1 through Bus District 24, I think. What is an army crawl? You never heard of an army crawl? Yeah. Oh, you never did army crawls, Bob? We had to do them when we played football. We had to do army crawls. And we did them in school, in gym class and everything. Not gym class, but at recess and everything. Yeah. Like this, on your stomach. Use your elbows to, your arms to move you. Yeah, so on my belly. That's correct, Bob. And I crawl underneath and then I come up. So I've noticed the two bus lines, the EB1s were off. And army crawl, right. And I said, what's going on? So I traced the wires back and they go into a terminal block. And I looked at the terminal block and I moved the wires that were screwed in, and I saw the lights come back on. So I said, oh, they're just loose. So I tightened them up and they still won't come on. I then flexed the terminal block a little bit, and then they came on and stayed on. So these terminal blocks are those white Euro terminal blocks. They're garbage. Don't use them. They're great. You can cut them and make, like you buy a 12 screw terminal block. It came from the U.S. Army. So, you ever watch Combat on TV, Bob? That was a TV show with, I can't remember the name of the guys, but they would do army crawls and stuff like that. A worm crawl. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, you remember that show, JD? Yeah, I used to watch that all the time. It was only on once a week. That's when TV was good. The shows were only on once a week. Now you get overwhelmed with repeats and everything. Yeah, Rat Patrol. That was later. Vic Morrow, right, in Combat. That's right, Vic Morrow. He's dead now. Most of them guys on that show are now gone. Yeah, he was a good sergeant. He was a sergeant. So those Euro terminal blocks are garbage. The screws in them, sometimes they don't go all the way down. And so I ordered the other kind of terminal blocks I originally got. They cost a little more, and you can't reconfigure them. And they'll be here tomorrow, and then I can fix those two bus lines. There was 3 bus lines on that terminal block. It's an 8 connector terminal block, and there was 3 bus lines. The other bus line was active. It was just the first 2 were off. And I don't know, maybe when I put the screw in to screw it to the board, it deformed it or something. I don't know. So I'm going to replace it with a better type of a terminal block because I don't like those terminal blocks. I have a lot of them around because I cut them to be threes for the an hour is all I have, fellas. Thanks for the showtime. Okay, Bob. Thanks for stopping in. See you all in the funny papers. Very good, Bob. Have a good one. We'll catch you later. Take care. So today in the mail, I got my other set of automated chickens from Besseman. This came all the way from there. Took a long time to get here, but they're going on the lower layout. I didn't want to take it out of the box. I was working on too many other things, but that came in today. So that's another day's project. That shouldn't be too long. I have the hole there already. The old unit was there. It was spinning around. Just didn't have the chickens to put on the top. So then I'll show that. And then when people come here to look at the layout, they'll be able to see those chickens moving around. It's hard to see that one way up on the top. They're still pecking away up there, and you can hear them in the background. So that's what came today in the mail. Tomorrow I'm going to get my car inspected. I have an early appointment in the morning. I got some family member taxes to do. D Money 4414. You're new here. Welcome. First name, please. D Money. There you go, John. Lots of eggs. David. Okay, David, welcome. I'll put you in my file here so I can remember your name. Hey, Ronald, welcome. D Money 4414, and his name is David. Very good. And Ronald just showed up. Welcome, Ronald. How you doing tonight? So yeah, tomorrow I'm going to take my car to get inspected. It's due in April. I got plenty of time, but I got an early up. And the station that's closest to my house, I have to get an appointment. They started doing that during that stupid thing back in the early 2000s. We had everybody wear masks and all that crap. So I don't know why you had to have an appointment to go get your car inspected. That's ridiculous. So in Pennsylvania, you have to go to a garage to get your car inspected. I can understand that. But in New Jersey, they have inspection stations. And you just used to go to the inspection station. You get in line, and then you just follow the line in through, and then you go through the inspection station. Now they do it by appointment. So also this weekend, I'm going to a train show in Kutztown, Pennsylvania, and DB Tech Dave's going to be there. I'll get to see him there. In Altoona in July. Okay. I don't know what path it's taking, but so I'll be at that train show. We'll be going there Saturday to see that show. So it's the largest steam locomotive in the world, and it's doing a cross-country tour. DB. Is Dave in here? There's Dave. Welcome, Dave. Just talking about you. You must have heard me talking about you. You showed up. Yep, that's correct. I'm going to be there early on Saturday, as much early as I can get there. I'm wondering if you're going to go see it. I don't know where it's going to be. I'm in New Jersey, so I don't know if it's going to go through New Jersey or through Pennsylvania. I don't know its path, so I'm not sure. It's an interesting engine for sure. So maybe tomorrow I'll play around with that TPA and make these connectors and see how they come out in TPA. I'll see how it goes with that. But that's just crazy stuff. What the PETG didn't work the way I expected it to. It will be in Philly for the 4th of July 250th anniversary, U.S. I'll be in Philly. Well, that's pretty close to me. Philly's only it's like a 2-hour drive to Philadelphia from my house. So that's not too far. It's only 60 miles to Philly, but it takes you almost 2 hours to get there because of all the traffic. So maybe I'll go there for 4th of July. That'll be a madhouse there, though. We'll see. At least I know it's there. That's good to know. But anyway. All right, guys. Well, it's 9:09 p.m. on this great Wednesday. It'll be crazy, Tom. Yeah, I bet it will be. Yeah, plus, well, 250-year anniversary. Yeah, all that. I remember the 200th anniversary when that came around. Thanks, Chuck. Appreciate it. Yeah, so I'm going to end the stream, guys. I appreciate everybody coming in tonight, and hopefully we'll see you again in your videos or your shows. Thanks a lot, Mike. Appreciate that. Don't forget to watch Jim Tedesco tomorrow at 6 p.m. He's always got something interesting to talk about. And thanks, Ronald. I appreciate it. And Alfonso, have a good one. Appreciate it. Thanks, JD. Appreciate that. John, take care. And like I said, I appreciate everybody stopping in tonight and spending time with me. And I hope you're working on your layouts. Not as much as I am because I work on it every day. So thanks a lot, Jim. We'll catch you later. Good night, everybody. Take care. And we'll see you all next week if I don't see you on your show sooner. Take care. Good night. End stream button. Nope, the button don't work. So I'm going to hit the end stream.